striptease. Hello everyone and welcome to Drop the Gloves with Wichita Thunder head coach Malcolm Cameron. Drop the Gloves is a weekly program where you, the fans, get to ask your questions about the Thunder or hockey or sports in general, and you get straight answers from the Wichita Thunder coach. In this week's episode, the coach talks to us about the weekend series against Tulsa. He tells us whether he believes the right pieces are in here for a winning culture for next season. And has the coach ever done a striptease on ice? Let's find out on Drop the Gloves. Welcome back, Coach Cameron. Coach, do you have team updates you'd like to provide to us?
I don't as of yet this morning because we have a lot of guys heading to the training room. So until we assess them, we won't know exactly who will be making the trip to Greenville.
Well, you split with Tulsa this weekend, a team that the Thunder have kind of struggled against this year. How do you evaluate that, and what are your thoughts on the performance?
Well, I thought we played well. Certainly, other than the first 10 minutes on Friday night, we won the hockey game. We outshot them and outscored them. It's tough to dig yourself a 3-0 hole against a team like Tulsa that's desperately trying to climb back into the playoff race. I thought top to bottom we played really well last night. Obviously we don't have a lot of scoring firepower in our lineup. It was good to see Gagne score in the power play. We held that 1-0 lead, through the starting of the third period. Thought it was a really ticky-tack call on Loic Marcotte for that penalty that cost the power play goal. Certainly there was other more prevalent penalties that could have been called during the game that weren't. But the team gutted it out. I mean, just to see what they did in overtime last night, I think it was 14 shots we blocked. And they had 2 minutes and 53 seconds of 4-on-3 power play time. I'm not sure more than one shot actually got through. And I'm real proud of the guys. And then obviously Gagne, being a goal scorer, wins in the shootout for us. It was well deserved.
You and I talked last night after the game about the pairing of Marcotte, DeBlau, and Tatchell together. What is it that you really like about this line?
Well, they've got a little bit of everything. Obviously, Matt DeBlau's got tremendous speed. Marcotte's a finisher and a heavier body, and then Tatchell's a bit of an energy guy who's certainly playing with a lot of confidence right now. So they complement each other. They've got speed, they got some work ethic and some size in there, and right now they would be our top line.
James Melindy seems to be a bit more aggressive lately, especially in the number of fights he's been in. Is that by design? Is that him, or is that just kind of the frustration of the season?
I think it's the frustration of the season, but on the teams we're playing, like, he's an annoying player to play against because he's in your kitchen all the time and he's chirping in guys' ears, and after a long season, guys' fuses are short, so he's got a lot more dance partners now than he did early in the year because people are just tired of playing against him.
Interesting dance he had in the penalty box last night.
Yeah, something that was I thought that was really bush league, jumping a guy from behind and all of that. How he gets a 2-minute penalty for slashing, I've watched it 25 times. Nowhere does he ever use the stick. And, it should have been a 7-minute power play for us, but whatever. I'll deal with the league with that.
Yeah, there were a lot of questionable things from last night, I thought, personally. But
yeah.
You head down this long bus trip to Greenville right now. Then you play 2 games within about a 15-hour span of time. Do you think that there's some advantage for your team in that?
Well, these morning games have tended over time to favor the visiting team because the home team is completely out of their routine. If you're used to playing at 7 or 7:30 at night or 4 o'clock on Sunday, there's a routine that you go through in terms of times you get to the rink, times you do your meetings, times you eat, all of those things. When you play a 10:30 in the morning game, it's completely out of routine. And the visiting team's already out of routine when you're on the road. So it tends to favor the visiting team.
Well, let's head to our fan question this week. Tim from Wichita would like to know, do you believe that you have the right pieces here to build a culture of winning for the Thunder for next season?
I do. I believe we have some pieces for sure. We're going to have to get a little bit more dynamic like we were at the beginning of the year in the first 20 games. So, but yeah, there's some good pieces in place here. In terms of setting up the recruiting for next year, we've got a lot of real positives. Obviously, that we're going to lead the league in call-ups. That's a major recruiting tool for young players coming off a contract already or coming out of school or junior hockey. So the fact that we can brag and say, hey, we led the ECHL in call-ups, it's legit. You come to Wichita, you get a chance to move up. that's maybe the biggest bargaining chip we have with recruiting right now.
Jerry from Liberal would like to know, he says, Coach, I see a lot of guys pass the puck away, but the opponent still comes right at them and checks the player. What is the allowable amount of space to still be able to hit someone who has already gotten rid of the puck?
It's more of a time thing. I would say it's probably, 2 seconds after he finishes the puck or passes the puck, you're allowed to finish your check on him. The reason you do that is to eliminate him from the play, from joining back into the play after he moves the puck. You also do it, especially against other teams' defensemen, to let them know that every time they have to go back to get the puck, they're going to get hit. And that wears them out physically and mentally, on top of the fact that you get hit a number of times, you're going to panic with the puck and maybe throw it away. But if you never finish your hit and you always curl off after he passes the puck, that defenseman knows he's never going to have to pay a price.
So the refs allow a couple of seconds?
Yeah, you're allowed. Yeah, you're allowed. I mean, you can't do it. You can't go 3 or 4 steps and then finish the guy. That's called charging. And usually that takes a number of extra seconds to get there. But I would say 2 seconds and maybe 6 feet.
Our next question comes from Vic from Wichita. He says, Coach, I got to tell you that I really don't understand this rule about when and how a player can use his hands. I have seen players grab the puck out of the air, carry it down, and drop it right in front of them and stick handle away. Is that allowed?
It is not allowed. You're not allowed to close your hand on the puck. It's gotten completely out of hand. Back in the days when the rule first came in, you used to be able to knock the puck down, as long as you didn't close your hand on it. Or advance the puck, but you could knock it down at your feet and continue on to carry it. It seems like anytime anybody's hand touches it now, it's a whistle. So I think that's something the National League, our league, the American Hockey League has to revisit.
Next we have Crow, who says, who are the hockey gods and how do we get them on our side? Can we sacrifice Justin Bieber to them? Will that work?
I don't know who the hockey gods are, but I do know that there are hockey gods. Whether there's one or multiple, I don't know. But you usually get them on your side by playing the right way all the time. And that's what we say, just playing the right way. Discipline, passion, sticking within a game plan, and playing team hockey as opposed to me hockey. But in saying that, I don't think I could ask for any more than what I'm getting out of our team most nights. We just don't have, the level of talent we did to start the year, nor the experience.
Next up, the Big G asks, he says, are you Newtonian about breaks? Since you had a lot going against you this year, do you expect many to go your way next year? Is that how it works?
I sure hope so. But I don't actually know what Newtonian means. I'm assuming it's something to do with Isaac Newton. But, you just never know. I mean, nobody could have ever planned for some of the stuff that happened this year, nor would you, even in your worst nightmare, think that it would happen. But something, you can't say woe is me or hang your head. You just get up in the morning, do your job, work hard, whether you're a player or coach, and put your best foot forward.
I would gather no opponent is feeling sorry for you. You're
nobody ever feels sorry for you, and you can't feel sorry for yourself. You just go out and you make your own breaks.
Next up, we have Lisa from Wichita. She would like to know, what is your belief about hazing new players or rookies?
Well, back in my day, you could do it. I think it got completely out of hand. Some of the physical and emotional stuff that guys used to do. I think it's really just limited to a dinner now, where the rookies have to take the veteran players out for dinner. Actually, I know that's a fact. And I think that's much better, because I think back when I was playing junior hockey and we were going through, the hazing process, it really hurt people's feelings, some of them, and your relationships with your teammates are never the same because you always harbor that ill will. I think doing away with that type of stuff was great for hockey.
Our next question comes from Ken from Wichita. He says, do helmets help players avoid concussions at all, with the obvious exception of protecting against a stick or the boards hitting directly against their head?
Yes, they do. And there's actually specific helmets that are called concussion helmets that will help people that have had concussion trouble. Most guys don't like to wear them because they're really sort of uncomfortable and they're ugly. But there are ones that are special for concussions. But it's not just the helmet, it's the mouth guard as well. you have to wear a mouth guard, because a lot of the time, if you don't have it in, it's your teeth and your jaw and the pressure from your jaw that moves your brain, jars your brain. So the helmet is great, but if you don't have a mouth guard in when you get hit, it's not going to prevent a concussion either.
Sean from Mays would like to know, do you think players are smarter to play minor league hockey when they are 19 or 20, if they can, or would they be better off going to college?
Something, if it's minor league hockey, I would say if it's the American Hockey League and they're on an NHL deal, certainly that means they're close to the NHL, but just to try out, gut it out at this level of hockey at 19, or first of all, you can't play at 19, so it would have to be 20. I would say go to school. Come out when you're 24, you got your degree, you can still play in the minor leagues. It's always tough to go back to school. If you play in the minors for 4 or 5 years and then you're going back to 25, you've been out of school for a number of years, it's tough to go back.
I didn't realize that the ECHL, you have to be at least 20 to play in
Yeah, you have to. It's same with the American League. Same with the the National League, you can play at 18, but if you can't play in the American League at 19. You can't play in the American League at 18. The only league you can play in at 18 and 19 is the NHL.
You got to be Sidney Crosby or somebody like that.
Yeah, be somebody pretty special. Yep.
Will from Bel Air would like to know, what team do you think really helped themselves at the trade deadline in the NHL?
I think it was Ottawa. Definitely did. They added 3 forwards and moved a young kid, Curtis Lazar. I was a little bit surprised by that, but I think maybe just a fresh start for him. It'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out, because at the end of the day, you can only carry 23 players on your NHL roster. Ottawa is well over that right now. Now, I don't know if they have players on injured reserve or not, but eventually they're going to have to try and send somebody down to Binghamton. But to do that, they got to be exposed to waivers and be picked up by anybody. So it'll be interesting to see what they do here over the next week.
Our next question comes from Taylor from Derby. He says, your discussion of the coach of Boston going to Montreal I found really interesting. It always amazed me when a player can leave one team to go to a heated rival of another, like Brett Favre to the Vikings or Johnny Damon to the Yankees. Doesn't that just seem wrong?
No, because I've been traded before, and trades are part of the business, and unfortunately, free agency is also a big part of the business. So it's usually your rival that wants you when you become a free agent, because you've done damage against them. You typically don't see that, trading to a rival in the middle of the season. You very rarely would say that the Philadelphia Flyers, they're going to trade a top player to the Pittsburgh Penguins and back and forth because they're interstate rivals. You never see that. That's why going from Boston to Montreal for Claude Julien mid-season was so weird. There's no other way to say it, but he's a coach, and he's a heck of a coach and passionate about his job. Obviously, French-Canadian lineage. Those Canadian jobs don't come around too often. He had it before, so I think to go back and do it again, that's kind of his dream job.
Our last question for this week, we're going to find out something interesting about the coach. Mary says, Coach, I love that you were a big fan of Slapshot. Ever done a striptease at the end of a game before? If so, is there video?
No, never did a striptease at the end of a game, but I played in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, where the movie Slapshot was filmed. Played in that rink, coached in that rink, lived in that town. I know every inch of that movie, so but I've never seen anybody do a striptease at the end of the game.
Thanks for joining us, Coach.
No problem, anytime.
We want to thank Coach Cameron for joining us on Drop the Gloves this week. If you have your own questions you'd like to ask the Wichita Thunder coach, please send them to us at malcolmcameron@minorleaguesportsreport.com. That's malcolmcameron@minorleaguesportsreport.com. Please have your questions to us by Monday evening so we can give the coach a little time to review them before we record the show. I'm Rob Paneer, the managing editor of the Minor League Sports Report, and we'll see you next time on Drop the Glove.